Welcome! If you're getting ready for the MD-102 exam, you're in the right place. We're going to break down some absolutely critical tools for protecting identities. Stuff you need to know not just for the test, but for locking down any modern company. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the root of all evil, the password problem. Then we'll walk through the solutions step by step. We'll look at going passwordless, automating our security, making life easier for our users, and then, finally, how to weave all of this into one seriously strong defense. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the problem with passwords. We've got to understand the core weakness here, because it's the reason everything else we're about to talk about even exists. So what is the single biggest security risk out there? You probably guessed it, the password. And yeah, it sounds obvious, but it's the fundamental flaws in this one little thing that force the creation of all these amazing tools we have today. The thing is, passwords are just fundamentally broken. First off, people forget them. So what do? They use simple ones and reuse them everywhere. Then, some other company gets breached, and suddenly those stolen passwords are being used to attack your network. And on top of all that, they are incredibly easy to trick users out of with phishing attacks. So how do we fix this mess? Well, this brings us to our first and maybe most elegant solution. Let's see how we can tackle these problems by just getting rid of the password entirely. And that solution is Windows Hello for Business. Now, it's really important to get this. This is not just a stronger password. It's a complete replacement. It changes the entire game by swapping that weak phishable password for super strong two-factor authentication that's cryptographically locked to a specific device. And here's where the magic really happens. It has two factors built right in. The first factor is something you have. That's the physical device which holds a secure crypto key. The second is something you are, like your fingerprint or face, or something you know, like a PIN. You need both. It's that simple. Okay, pay attention, because this is a huge point for the exam. Your biometric data, your face, your fingerprint, it never leaves your device. It's stored locally, right there on the machine. It is never sent to a server. That is a massive security win. It means there's no central database of fingerprints for hackers to steal. You absolutely 100% need to know this table for the test. It's all about how you actually deploy and manage this stuff. If you're cloud only, you use Intune. If you're old school on premises, you use group policy. And for hybrid, well, you can use either one, but, and this is key, never both at the same time on the same device. You'll just cause a mess. And to dig in just a little deeper, the choice really boils down to your management style. Intune is the modern, cloud-native way to do things, with configuration profiles. Group policy, or GPOs, is the traditional way you'll use for devices still tied to your on-premises Active Directory. Okay, so we're passwordless. We're safe, right? Well, not so fast. Even without passwords, accounts can still get compromised. Maybe a device gets stolen, or a session token gets hijacked. This brings us to the next level of the problem, and, you guessed it, an automated solution. So, meet Microsoft Entra ID protection. I want you to think of this as a super smart AI-powered security guard for every single one of your user accounts. It taps into Microsoft's gigantic threat intelligence network to watch every single sign-in, looking for anything that seems off. And here's another one you gotta burn into your brain for the exam. This is a premium feature. You don't get it by default. Your users need a Microsoft Entra ID P2 license to be protected by it. The way it works is actually pretty straightforward, but it is incredibly powerful. First, it spots a risk, like a login from a weird place. Second, it calculates a risk score, low, medium, or high. And third, it automatically enforces a policy that you set up beforehand, like forcing an MFA prompt or just blocking access completely. So what kind of sneaky stuff is it looking for? Well, here are some of the classics. My favorite is impossible travel. You know, when someone logs in from New York and then 5 minutes later from Tokyo. Yeah, that's a red flag. It also catches logins from anonymous proxies or just from a brand new device that a user has never touched before. All right, next up, empowering your users. Because let's be real, even the absolute best security tools will fail if they're a pain to use and just get in the way of people trying to do their jobs. This is all about finding that perfect balance. First is self-service password reset, or SSPR. And trust me, this one is a game changer. It solves a massive headache for IT. Instead of users calling the help desk every single time they forget a password, SSPR lets them fix it themselves, securely anytime from anywhere.
Now, for the exam, you need to pay close attention here, especially that last point, password right back. If you're in a hybrid setup, this feature is absolutely essential. It's what keeps the passwords in sync between the cloud and your on-prem Active Directory. Just remember, it needs a P1 or P2 license, and you should always pilot it with a small group first.
And of course, we can't talk about protecting identities without talking about multi-factor authentication. MFA is your ultimate safety net. The principle is simple. Even if a bad guy manages to steal a user's password, it's completely useless without that second factor, like a quick approval on their phone. And here's a little pro tip for you that also happens to be a major exam point. A lot of companies don't realize this, but if you already have Entra ID P1, P2, or the full EMS licenses, you already own full-blown MFA. You don't need to buy anything extra. You just need to assign the licenses and flip the switch. And that brings us to our final section, building a layered defense. This is where we put all the pieces together and see how these tools aren't just a random collection of features. They're designed from the ground up to work together as one integrated system. See how it all fits? Windows Hello gets rid of the main attack vector, the password itself. Entra ID protection is your 24/7 automated guard, watching for active threats. SSPR makes life easier for everyone. And MFA is that final, critical checkpoint for everything else. Together, you've got a powerful, multi-layered defense protecting your identities. And I'll leave you with this thought. Attackers don't just try one thing. Their attacks are layered and sophisticated. Your defenses have to be too. Mastering these tools isn't just about passing a test. It's about building a security strategy that can actually stand up to the real-world threats we're all facing today.